My lips were chapped, hands dry, even with gloves on, but I was ready to pick up my lacrosse stick again. I remember it being so beat up with mushy gray bands and a socket that was like a little too deep. And also, it had so much mud that I completely forgot its original color was the color white. I just remember overall, though, that eighth grade me was so looking forward to continuing playing lacrosse by trying out for the JV lacrosse team freshman year of high school the coming year. So, flash forward a little over a year later, I'm sitting by myself in the corner of a yellow school bus driving us back from a game that we had just won against E.O. Smith. Also, don't mind, this is just my microphone, but I remember my team was cheering, and I just kept staring at the back of an empty seat, like right in front of me. And at the time, I just remember being so shocked because I heard the words "she doesn't matter" replaying over and over again. And I didn't understand why I wasn't crying or no tears were rolling down my face, but I just kept on hearing things and it just got worse, and to the point where I eventually found out they created an entire Snapchat group chat just to cyberbully me, take unwanted pictures of me, and so forth. We'll get a little bit into that later. I remember continuing to think about the fact that, like, in mid-March, after tryout season, I told them I was not allowed to get Snapchat, and I really wanted to just stick to iMessage because that seemed to work for everybody else as well, to communicate with one another. And clearly that didn't happen, and I wasn't even sure where to begin to think about it, which is, like, kind of the messed up part. And from then, I realized, like, all the times that they would make passive-aggressive, like, jokes at me, about me, make fun of my involvement with my school news, Blue Eagle News, physically corner me until I answered their questions, and returning back to the field after being sick. That was, like, I think the worst part. They tried to tell my coach, and I found out this from my coach, saying that I was lying about my illness, that I was faking it because they wanted to kick me off the team. I think, though, what really puts the cherry on top is the fact that the girl who kind of, like, spearheaded all of this, like, led them, she was a class officer, and I don't know, she definitely was leading people, just not necessarily in, like, the right way. So clearly I didn't feel comfortable in that environment. I did finish that season off, and after many talks with my parents and my coach, I knew that I had to leave that field. Either way, I was going to get backlash, and I was right, but I would eventually learn to stick up for myself by putting my lacrosse stick down. As an aspiring journalist, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get off of social media at the time because I would post, like, my broadcast pieces. And so I tried to find ways to continue carving my path by covering news at school and gain skills and stories of strength and growth that helped me earn semifinalist status for a full ride to my dream school and an international finalist status at DECA for a project that was actually focused about youth digital safety and media literacy with one of my first and one of my very best friends I made when I moved to my town, among many other things. Thankfully now, that moment doesn't replay in my head as often, but whenever it does, it's like I'm back sitting at that empty seat and then seeing the empty seat right in front of me and just hearing these, like, echoes. And it sounds so dramatic, but it's like, it's so crazy because it's like in the moment you just don't know how to, like, react. And it breaks my heart that I ever had to deal with that, especially if you guys who are watching this have had to deal with something similar to that, or bullying, cyberbullying in general. So it might seem corny, but words do stick, especially on social media. If it hasn't happened to you, it can be hard to grasp how and understand how real this is, whether the words are exchanged in person or, for me, like, it was group chats, but a mix of both, though. If you are a teenager who has dealt with cyberbullying, I am truly sorry, but you are in the right place, and it's time to reclaim your story. I'm Angelica Data, and I welcome you to the 4-part video series, Stick Up, How Teenagers Who Face Cyberbullying Can Navigate Social Media.